Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we have our third sneak peek for the upcoming Fantastic Four update. Now, I can't say with 100% certainty that it's a Fantastic Four update still, because it's just not how logic works, but we're like 99.9% there by now, folks. So if you were on Twitter first, you saw this sneak peek, but honestly, this is one of the first times in a long time that the Twitter sneak peek is a lot worse in terms of what information you get compared to the mobile room sneak peek, so you definitely want to stay tuned for that. But the Twitter sneak peek has a picture here of Beast, Ant-Man, Shuri, and Iron Man with some sort of tech background, kind of hideout scenario, and then it says, these are some of the greatest scientific minds in the world, but we may need some additional help. The additional help would refer to a new character, and that new character presumably would be super smart, like Brainiac, except a good guy in Marvel and etc. So that doesn't really give us too much to go on. Now, I do want to read some of the Twitter posts because they are hilarious, some of the replies, but first I want to hit up the Mobrum because it is way different. So CM Fragment does his usual intro, or her usual intro, receiving reports that there is an unusual rupture in one of our dimension rifts. They've gathered some evidence of our heroes with genius level intellect, and of course they name off Shuri, Iron Man, Ant-Man, Beast, but even with their help, I can't find out how this rupture came to exist. However, we've received assistance from a hero, so we're talking about a singular hero we didn't expect. So this was going to be one of the new heroes in the update. Another hero with genius level intellect has appeared. So Johnny is not that smart. Johnny Storm, Sue's brother. Sue is smart, but not, you know, super genius. I mean, she's probably a genius, but in terms of who is the smart one of the bunch, it's obviously the Thing. It's obviously Ben Grimm. He's obviously the brains of the operation. And then you got Richard Reed over there on the other side. You know, Reed Richards, he's just... Did I call him Richard Reeds? Whatever, dude. Reed Richards. He's just kind of the muscle of the group. But no, obviously this is talking about Reed Richards. And he is the one that is referred to as the genius level intellect character. And this idea that it's Reed Richards is further made kind of confirmed or made true by a tweet later on, a little bit after the update, where it was retweeted. Essentially, the Marvel Future Fight tweet here was retweeted, and Danny Koo, in a very tongue-in-cheek way, said, "Someone can lend a hand, ha." So, if you're not familiar, Reed Richards can stretch his body, much like Kamala Khan can, and of course one way that he can stretch his body is by stretching his hand out to a very gigantic size. Now, he can of course always stretch his hand across the room. For example, if he's in a laboratory and you're doing some sort of calculation or some sort of chemical reaction test mixture and he's on the other side, he can literally lend you a hand by just stretching his whole arm across. And there's so many panels in comics where he uses his body, particularly his hands, but you know, his body, to stretch around and kind of help in unexpected ways. Of course, he also uses it for combat, but that's kind of the real world application here, and that's basically what this is referring to, because there is no battle going on here. So then they go on to say, who is this hero? It's not Richard Reeds, I'll tell you that. Who is this hero that is capable of helping our heroes from Wakanda, Avengers, and X-Men? You'll be able to meet this hero soon in Marvel Future Fight. I trust that they can resolve the situation with the rupture if I leave the case with them. Sorry, I got some water burps. I have to drink water before the videos so I can kind of lubricate my throat. And so here we are, me kind of holding in some air burps in between the sentences of the video. Anyways, the bigger thing that I wanted to touch on, obviously we're getting the Fantastic Four. Obviously this is Reed Richards. In the previous one, we had a hint about Sue Storm. In the previous one, we had a hint basically about all of the Fantastic Four. However, here's the important part. I've received reports that there is an unusual rupture in one of our dimension rifts. So the confusion that I think some of you may have is that Reed Richards will be the dimension rift character, or that we're getting a dimension rift character at all. Now, I do think there is a chance, not a 100% chance, but there's probably, I would say maybe a 50% chance we're getting a dimension rift character, and that could be one of the Fantastic Four. But I don't think it's Reed Richards, because he's the one helping Beast, Ant-Man, Shuri, and Iron Man. If you think about this logically, he's the one helping them tackle the problem of closing or, sealing or identifying the rupture in the dimension rift. But if you look a little bit more carefully into the photo, you'll see that there is an image of a man, a very large man, doing a very nice T-pose in the background. Now, obviously, that's not Reed. Obviously, it's not Johnny. Obviously, it's not Sue. Obviously, it's not Dr. Doom or Silver Surfer or Franklin Richards or Galactus. There's pretty much one person that it could be. A big guy, kind of looks like the Hulk. Ben Grimm. Yeah, it's obviously the Thing, so that would be the fourth member of the Fantastic Four. And if I'm right, it means that they're not going to give us a fourth sneak peek, because the first one covered all four of the Fantastic Four and maybe leaned a little bit more heavily on Johnny. The second one was definitely all about Sue, but it could also be about Johnny. The third one, this one, is obviously about Reed, and we've got some action here with the Thing, so it may just be the final sneak peek before we get the Facebook live stream, possibly, and then the key art for the update, the new splash page. Now, there are some people saying that because the sneak peeks have been happening so infrequently, we've had so few sneak peeks, and they've been so far apart, that we're not getting the update until next week. Now, this does contradict the timing of the pre-update event quest, which is ending very soon, but it's possible that we're going to be getting another event quest prior to the update, which would be like a pre-pre. It would make this one a pre-update event quest. I don't know. I don't hope that that's the case. I mean, I do hope that those people are wrong, because I just can't wait any longer for the Fantastic Four. I don't want any more sneak peeks. But yeah, I do understand, and it does make sense. The sneak peeks have been unusual. They've been very vague, and they also have been very far apart. So we're going to have to just wait and see. A couple of other things I want to point out to you guys. One, there's some action going on here in the top right corner. Some of the members of my alliance who are more creative than I am believe that this may be Silver Surfer. I honestly don't know, but I do get a kick. I love hearing about all of the little things that you guys can pull out of these teasers and all of the kind of connect the dots sort of situations you guys can come up with. So please, if you have any more, let me know. Also, there is an image behind Ben Grimm's right arm. It looks like it's a picture of like a kind of just a generic drawing of a dimension rift or a black hole with a line through the middle. And then there is a face there. Could be Silver Surfer's face, but honestly, Silver Surfer has the most nondescript face of all. It's just lines, and then his skin is gray. So he doesn't really have any defining. He's like one of the least defined characters in terms of actual facial features. So it's very easy to confuse just basically any silhouette with that of the Silver Surfer. Furthermore, I do want to point out to you guys that we haven't had a Dimension Rift update or a new Dimension Rift character since Angel, which is almost a year ago. I mean, we got the Angel update, I believe, in March or April of 2018, when we got Emma Frost and when we got Colossus and Magic. So that is something to think about if you consider the composition of those four characters. Magic and Colossus are brother and sister. Angel and Emma Frost don't really have relation. They certainly aren't blood related, but it is an interesting factor because only Sue and Johnny are really related in the Fantastic Four. I mean, Reed becomes related to Sue by marrying her, but that's a connection, a bond of marriage, not a bond of blood. So if you do look at those two updates and you compare them, they're exactly the same. You've got almost exactly the same. 2 female characters and 2 male versus 3 male and 1 female for Fantastic Four. You've got Magic and Emma Frost versus just Sue Storm. Sorry, I have to sneeze. And then on the other hand, you have the male characters. Additionally, you have 2 characters on each team, on each side, that are related. Colossus and Magic are brother and sister. And then you have Sue and Johnny, who are brother and sister. Additionally, Angel was the last Dimension Rift character that we got. So it's possible that Ben Grimm, which would be the guy in the sneak peek who is pictured as the kind of rupture in the Dimension Rift, Ben Grimm could end up being the Dimension Rift character, and then some of the Fantastic Four are available through bio subscriptions. They wouldn't be X-Gene subscriptions, of course, because they're not X-Men, so they'd have to be the biometric characters or a brand new type of selector. If it's paid or not, I don't know. We may see one of the Fantastic Four also being offered as a crystal character, a la Emma Frost, or perhaps that will fall on a more popular character like Dr. Doom or Silver Surfer. Now, I'm not saying these things to kind of freak you out or make you panic or whatever all the free-to-play kids to start crying and, frantically searching for their mother's credit card. I'm just saying, the last time we got a Dimension Rift character, it was Angel, and that was in a 4-character update. The Fantastic Four seems like there might be a Dimension Rift character, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, there's 4 members of the Fantastic Four. So there are a few similarities. Now, alternatively, just in case you guys want to hear some different news that might not sound so bad, it would be interesting to see them introduce new content via Dimension Rifts that could be grindable. So rather than just introducing a new Dimension Rift, which is exactly the same as all of the existing Dimension Rifts, you just search for him, you find him, you open him, you go there, you play the mission, you get his bios, you rank him up, whatever. They could do something new. And I don't know exactly what that new thing could be, but it could just be a different kind of Dimension Rift, possibly one that doesn't come around all the time, that's just automatically opened, but it's only opened, let's say, 3 days a week, and in those 3 days you have to frantically play as much as possible using energy or using crystals or whatever, or gold. And you have to play to try and get biometrics for that character, and they're not available anywhere else. So they're not available in selectors, they're not available in the bio sub or the X Gene sub, they're not available in the store to purchase with the premium hero chest. They're only available through the Dimension Rifts. I think it would be nice to see them do something new for Dimension Rifts, possibly open a Dimension Rift that only your alliance can complete, and you have to complete them together, and they're super hard. There's so many different ways they can go with it, but I do think that the Dimension Rift does need a massive overhaul, and it may be coming with this update. Now, what that means, for those of you that want to take this to its absolute extreme and you want to be as kind of ready for this update as possible, I would kind of recommend just one thing. Save up a bunch of 5-star cards. And the reason for that is, if we're getting a new character for Dimension Rifts, we're probably getting a new comic card, at least one. And of course, what better comic cards to get than Fantastic Four comic cards? Because we don't have any Fantastic Four comic cards in our entire library. So out of all the cards we have, none of them feature the Fantastic Four. So it would be really cool, a la Angel when he got his Dimension Rift, if we got some Fantastic Four cards. So the reason why I tell you to save up 5-star cards is because you'll be able to pull or create a 1-star version of the new Dimension Rift card. Let's say this was the Fantastic Four card, and then you'd be able to upgrade it to 5 stars, and then with your extra 5-star cards that you've saved, you'd be able to immediately rank it up to 6 stars. And if it's a good card, you can use it, and if not, you'll at least get the new collection for the new Fantastic Four card. So that is the kind of advice portion of this speculation. I cannot guarantee at all that we're getting a Dimension Rift change, we're getting a new Dimension Rift, or we're getting characters associated with Dimension Rifts. I'm just reading more into the sneak peek and kind of speculating or extrapolating hypothetically based on that. This is all conjecture, this is all my opinion, and none of it is guaranteed. So I hope you guys understand that, but also get hype and let me know what you guys think of the sneak peeks. Let me know what you think of the confirmation again for the 3rd time now that we're getting Fantastic Four. What you think of my Dimension Rift ideas. Subscribe if you enjoyed the content and you want to support me. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.